the thing that connects the liberal and conservative is the future.
All right, so I'm here with a man who is synonymous with environmentalism, but I want to ask you something. Most of us think about environmentalism like when we see the recycle symbol or a park or whatever, but you have a more holistic view. And given that climate change and all this is both urgent and also largely ignored, and even going in the wrong direction, the Keystone Pipeline and stuff, what do we need to do to, save the world? Just a little question.
To save the world.
Yeah.
Right.
What are you doing to save the world for all of us?
Well, I'll tell you what. With environmentalism needs to be the end of the equation. It's on the right-hand side of the equals mark. So if you make it clean and fair and decent and safe, it'll become sustainable. So the goal is to get the equation right, and so environmentalism, it's the thing that happens when you get all the other stuff right. So what we've done in Oberlin, we started out with...
At Oberlin. So you work at Oberlin College?
Oberlin College, Oberlin, Ohio, west of Cleveland by 35 miles. What we've done is to take we started with a single building, the Adam Joseph Lewis Center, which was named 4 years ago as the most important green building in the past 30 years. Entirely powered by sunshine, zero discharge. It was a platinum building before there was a U.S. Green Building Council rating system. That was our...
It was LEED before there was LEED?
That was right. We generate, last year was 144% of our energy from sunshine, and that's in Ohio.
Wow.
And so it can be done.
Right.
So the idea
Ohio's not that sunny, you're saying?
Well, actually Ohio is sunnier than most of Germany. That's the #1 solar nation in the world.
Yeah, you're sunny when you're comparing yourself with Germany, and barely.
Well, in Ohio, sunshine is kind of a theory.
I like that.
But anyway, the idea then was to take that model up to the next scale, the size of the city. We're a little city of 10,000 people. Can you do sustainability at that scale?
So you're trying to scale.
We're trying to scale.
Yeah. And
we're trying to scale by putting things together, because we've gone after this as a series of one-off things. So it's a sustainable ag movement, sustainable forestry, and green building, and environmental education, and so forth. We're trying to put them all together. So the parts, anything you do begins to reinforce the larger whole. And that's pretty much working. We've eliminated 90% of our carbon emissions in the city electric supply.
For the whole city?
For the whole city. We deployed a 3.2 megawatt output solar array 2 years ago.
And did that go through the mayor, or through you, or through the college?
No, the Open Project is a temporary catalytic organization I started 4 years ago. Wow. And it's a partnership with the city and the college both. And we're midway between the city, the college, and the community. That's no man's land, so we're temporary. We're trying to catalyze a lot of stuff, bring money to bear on things. So
and how would that be scalable? You could get between China, U.S., and...
Well, it's scalable in this way. We've taken this idea of integrated or full spectrum sustainability up to the regional scale. So think of Lake Erie like this, and there's Flint, Michigan up here, where the tax base falls 20% per year. That's a city in free fall. Detroit, everybody knows about Detroit. Toledo, Oberlin, Cleveland, and Youngstown. Now, 60 years ago, that was the heart of the U.S. economy.
Right.
And now it's just flat on its backside. So the idea, very simply, is right straight out of Jane Jacobs, the old urban theorist. Wrote some of the best stuff ever written about American cities. And she had the idea of import substitution. So if you make it, grow it, process it, service it locally, buy it locally. And she said that the national economies don't grow. What grows is the city economies. So our goal is to take all this stuff to scale, up to the $1 billion scale. And the strategy is very simply, ask the foundations not for money, but to convene the right people in a room. So we want the presidents and their chief financial officers of the big universities, the big sports teams, major hospital clusters. And we're asking them to shift about $1 billion per year of their buying and investing from the brown side of the ledger to the green side. So in the case of food, we want them buying local, organic, and green. Buying locally. In case of energy, buy efficiency and renewable.
And how did you do that on a local Oberlin level? I mean, how do you get people to say, this will be affordable? How do you get someone to make that decision?
Well, it's a really good question. We just broke ground on an affordable passive solar house, zero energy cost. And it's done at the level. We sold it to a woman who's got 2 kids, whose income is below the poverty line. We arranged funding for her from the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Wow.
We're handling the construction. Now, the idea is to build next
That's some
year.
good karma right there.
Yeah, next year we're trying to break ground. We're moving on a 50-unit, similar kind of development. So the idea is to make these things affordable, make them clean, green, safe, but affordable.
You were
So
doing a
that's
project for the Obama administration, right?
Well, the Climate Action Plan, and
Yeah.
that I think I can't brag. I don't know the inside of the Obama administration, but a good bit of the things that we recommended in the part of the Climate Action Plan said, here's what you can do without ever going to Congress. That's happened. And if you look at the agreement just signed with
Why wouldn't
China,
you want to go to Congress to get stuff done?
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
You want to start me on a diatribe and you get this on camera. This would be awesome. Throw a little hissy fit here and get down and pound the floor. Anyway, the idea is to convene the people who make financial decisions. These are the people who make investment and purchasing decisions.
Right.
But think of $1 billion coming from this side of the ledger to that side. Now the beauty of this thing, you're not inventing anything. They all buy, all these organizations buy food, they buy energy, they build infrastructure. We're saying make it green, make it organic, and make it renewable. That's all we're saying. And so we're asking the CFOs to develop a strategy that says, okay, you get the CFOs in a room with our advisory group, and the plan is simply to say, begin to collaborate on investment decisions. And so when you buy or invest, talk to each other. So we're providing that platform. Number 2, change the rules of investment. The discount rate needs to be 10 years or longer. And even at 10 years, the rate of return is 7%. That's good in this market. And change the internal rules, how you begin to do business. And then find those places where 2 + 2 is 22, not 4. Find those leverage.
What are those places like?
Well, for example, in Detroit, which is otherwise in bad shape, a lot of good things happen though in Detroit.
Right.
Eastern Market, which is into buying local food. Eastern Market, think of Eastern markets in every big city in that region. So powered by sunshine, that's jobs producing solar collectors.
That's like 2. Yeah, it's creating jobs.
And
That's 2 more.
You're linking the farm community and farmers with urban farmers with the urban buying market. So that's economic development, it's agriculture, it's lower carbon emissions because you're not hauling stuff, 1,500 miles from California and so forth into
It's
the
a safer
Midwest.
society. There's more people out, families.
The trick, Wendell Berry, who was here 2 days ago, wrote an essay a long time ago called Solving for Pattern, and it's a brilliant essay. And when you solve for pattern, every solution solves more than one problem. The industrial world solved one problem at a time, created 4 more in its wake. And the theory was that, brute force doesn't work, as somebody once put it, you're not using enough of it. So you're forcing genes to do what they don't want to do. You're forcing the land to do what it doesn't want to do. You're forcing nature to do what it doesn't want to do. You're forcing people to do what they can't do. The idea is to take all these ideas to scale. If we stay at the backyard garden scale and the farmer's market scale, we'll never make it.
But we don't have to leave those behind. We just have to scale them.
And in scaling them,
Yeah.
for the backyard market, I mean, imagine, let's say, the University of Michigan or Oberlin College, whatever, saying, we'll buy all the turnips and all the free-range chickens that you have up to this level, and at a price that varies, let's say, plus or minus 10%. So if it costs us more, up to 10%, we'll still buy it. But imagine being able then, and then you need a food hub. Then you have to have somebody to aggregate a lot of small producers. It's not coming in from farms that have 40,000 acres of root.
We have that problem right now in Boulder, Colorado. We're all about local food, but there's nowhere for all the farmers to take it.
Yeah, that's a place where a food hub and that investment, that's 2 + 2 is 22. Local food, local farmers, local markets, better health for the eaters, powered by sunshine. That's a place where you can get a lot of change quickly. So that's the kind of thing we're doing.
So you're about to give this keynote here at Slow Money, and you mentioned that a problem up to now is the siloization of all this. What does that mean?
The curriculum of a college or university. Imagine a mailbox pigeonhole. And it's got Waylon up here, that's yours, and David over here, that's mine. That's like sociology departments and chemistry departments and so forth. And so we've taken the world, this what William James called the blooming, buzzing confusion of this system, this wild, crazy world and planet we live on. We've carved it up into chunks, and that's sociology. And sociology has nothing to do with economics over here.
So we're like wildness, and we've
we've done the same thing in the environmental movement. So we've got an agriculture movement, but it doesn't much talk to the green economics movement until things like this. I mean, that's Woody's great genius, is to get a conversation going between
founder of
farmers
so money,
yeah, but that's not, and green building has nothing to do with much with water and economics, and so we have these single conversations, or transportation. So you build a green building, which is great, good idea to do it, and the U.S. Green Building Council has been terrific. But it can be set in a place where you've got to drive to get there, the waste goes out of the building, and you cause lots of other kind of problems.
That's another problem we have in Boulder. We have all this environmental living, but it has made it expensive. So a lot of people live in other towns around, and they commute in and out.
You can't, we've got to get smarter about how we do this. So our idea at the regional scale, focus on three things, with food and energy and green infrastructure, and then find the connections between them. Again, so 2 + 2 is 22.
Love that.
And so you're finding all those things where you get high multiplier effect, and it begins to go of its own accord. Now, there's got to be a top-down strategy eventually, but you're not going to move that. We are working on ideas of grand. A couple of my colleagues are working on what they call a grand strategy. And the big thing is going to happen only in Washington, D.C. We've got to get a carbon tax. We've got to get a price on carbon by whatever means. We can't, and that happens at the national scale.
So how do you do that? How do you make that less partisan?
I'll tell you, the theory, I mean, there's a lot of theories that change here, but the theory is that if we can be successful in the Lake Erie Crescent, 35 million people, the old heart of the U.S. economy, then we want to go out of your country. The next organization up, the next regional cluster we want to assemble is the Front Range of the Rocky Mountains around Denver. And so imagine from Fort Collins to Colorado Springs, including all the Denver Metroplex and so forth, the same kind of idea. Focus on, and it'd be a little bit different in Denver. So we identified 8 places around the country where you have regional clusters. But imagine a country that starts to drive, the politics get driven because of stuff at the bottom. And then you simply got to move. And then you can't elect idiot congresspeople, and they can't be too ideological because there's a lot of practical stuff going on. And they can't deny numbers because the people are too smart. They know that the world works differently. So the theory of change here is simply we did work at the top with the Climate Action Plan for President Obama, and that's, he's been, I think, underappreciated. He's done a lot of really good stuff. But now we have to work from the bottom up to create a constituency for the things that have to happen and can only happen at the top. And eventually you have to think in global terms. I mean, the China-U.S. agreement yesterday was great. But,
front page news, right.
It's got to be political. But to be political, you have to change how we power our lives, how we eat, how we build, how we work. And we have to pick up the bottom of the income spectrum, which is follow through the safety net.
So personal question, which is a question our readers love. Your work, it sounds like you're working your butt off. You have a huge task. So how do you take care of yourself through all this and not burn out?
Look, I'm just playing in this. This is fun work. And if the world wasn't in crisis, I still would kind of like to do something like this anyway. It's good work. And you meet good people like you guys and Woody Tash. And there are a lot of great people. These are my friends. And these are folks we hang out with and read their books and go to their conferences.
But there's like defeat after defeat on some level, right? How do you not get depressed sometimes?
Well, you get depressed. I mean, if you want to get depressed, you can get depressed. If you want to be happy, you can be happy. You can read whatever in the Ledger in the Times you want to read.
Right.
Are we winning? If you had done a sample of the Revolutionary War in 1779, if you had polled the military experts, are you winning, George? Hell no, we're not winning. We've lost every battle here. Valley Forge was a real bitch. But they were winning. They were outlasting. And I think that we're doing.
They were fighting the war, not the.
They were winning the war, not winning battles.
But we don't have that much time on some level, right?
We don't. That's right.
So in a way, we might win the war, and it might be too late, right?
Well, there are no guarantees in this, and there's no. Bill McKibben at the Omega conference a weekend ago or so, at the end of his talk, said there's no guarantee that we're going to make it, and nobody can guarantee we're going to make it.
Yesterday Wendell said it's not for us to think about whether it's going to work or not. It's for us to wake up in the morning, cheerful and work as hard as we can.
If you want to get depressed, you can get depressed. If you want to, I think Wendell's right that you get up and you do what you can do. And
Yvonne Chouinard said the same thing. It's like
if you had in a book I wrote on has a chapter on optimism, pessimism. If you're optimistic, you don't know enough. If you're pessimistic and despair, that's a sin. Don't go there. The only good place to be is hope. But hope is a verb with its sleeves rolled up. If you're hopeful, you've got to do something. You're obliged to do something. The idea of staying hopeful, and then you stay with people who are actually doing something.
So final question then, if hope is like sleeves rolled up and doing something, what's one thing that everyone out there will see this in a week or two can or should do that maybe we're not doing right now?
Well, everybody knows about, you buy a Prius, or better yet, don't buy anything, buy a bike or walk.
Yeah.
And all those things, we know those things. And now after the elections last week, vote differently.
Yeah.
Get out and vote, because if you look at the majority numbers, the majority of the American public is with us on these big issues. They want a future for the grandchildren, for crying out loud.
Right.
And
conservative, liberal, majority.
It crosses the line,
Yeah.
because the thing that connects the liberal and conservative is the future.
Right.
That's where the lines
Well
converge,
said.
and that's your great grandkids, and that's their great grandkids, and so get out and vote. Be political. This is a political issue.
Yeah.
Who gets what, when, and how is the definition of politics, and that is definition of environment also, and it includes other species, future generations, other people elsewhere. So the one thing to do, make it political. Vote. After you've got your squiggly light bulbs and walk and bike, walk to the voting booth. And turn out in big numbers in 2016. It's important.
And in the meantime, be active, like, what Bill is doing, Bill McKibben. Just be an active citizen, right?
You bet.
Yeah.
Engage. Fight the pipeline. Fight the bastards.
Well,
a $3 trillion business, and they will break no law as they perform on their business plan and fry the planet. They will not break a single law.
Right.
And that is unbelievably wrong. We don't have the language and the philosophy to say how wrong that is.
Yeah.
So it's political. It's legal.
Wonderful. David, I knew you'd be a smart guy, but you're also a fun guy. So.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
My number, you got my
People don't often realize how much I suffer bringing these videos. Behind the scenes, it takes a lot to keep me in shape. I'm in the Muhammad Ali Center right now. Training for videos is constant. And as Muhammad Ali said, you only count the push-ups once they start hurting.
Jane.